Happy New Year, everyone! And I thought I'd start this new year with a blast from the past. A suggestion given to me by Dusan Cookie Wolf. Does the name Myuu Excalibur ring a bell?
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Yes, now this is a classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Series from the golden era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan shows. It basically wrote the blueprint of how to make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan series. Sadly, though, a good chunk of this series has been purged from YouTube. But not all! And a popular series has a spin-off, and Excalibur had 3. Project Games, which is currently coming back, The Mask, which is unfortunately unlisted, and a new series, Armageddon. And the 3rd series is what we'll be covering today, in episode 3, Shawn and Tom versus the Dark Elemental. To set the stage a bit, our hero Shawn and one of his best friends, Tom, have noticed a spike in sightings of unusual beings called Dark Elementals. Beings who can challenge people to shadow duels, and these beings do not have souls. So beating them in a shadow duel does take them down, but they will always come back another time. Shawn and Tom go looking for more info on these beings and come across a duel in progress, which, as a small bonus, I'll break down now. It's Skullman's turn, and the final turn of the duel, he draws and gets Pot of Greed. He activates it and draws Painful Choice and the legendary Exodia Incarnate. He activates Painful Choice. Now he reveals 5 cards from his deck, and then the opponent picks one of them to add to his hand. The other 4 will go to the grave. He reveals all 5 pieces of Exodia, the Forbidden One. Ryan Knockoff Akashi picks the head of Exodia, so Bones for Brains adds it to his hand. Misplay for picking the head. The other 4 can be added to the hand with any normal support like Dark Factor Mass Production, while the head needs a special card like Monster Reincarnation. Though it doesn't really matter what they would have chosen because Toby Tibia summons Exodia the Forbidden One. Now he tributes Exodia to special summon the legendary Exodia Incarnate from his hand, a monster that can only be summoned by tributing a Forbidden One monster. Exodia Incarnate also gains 1000 attack for each Forbidden One piece in his graveyard, and with all 5 in there, it has 5000 attack points. Battle phase. Randy Ribcage has Exodia Incarnate attack Sophia, Goddess of Rebirth, winning the duel and claiming their Sophia and Dystopia the Despondent as its own. So could Redneck and Bandana Brain have defeated Frank Femur? Most likely no. We don't have all the information, obviously, but the Talking Skeleton says that they focus too much on summoning their boss monsters rather than winning the duel, and since he's the only remaining eyewitness, we'll have to take his word on it. Anyway, after the duel, Shawn identifies this Samuel Shoulderblade as Alexander Shadowmere, a former teacher from Duel Academy who manipulated Shawn into sending students to the Shadow Realm and caused Shawn to get an evil side named Uria. Though this would come back to bite him though, as he was killed by his young protege. But now he's back due to and wants revenge. But after his duel, he's wiped out, so summons a Dark Elemental to take his place. He also reveals that the Elemental is a lost soul who struck a deal with him for a chance to come back to life. Tom recognizes the voice but can't quite put a name to it. But the Elemental reveals itself as Prez, the name of their best friend. And I will continue to call this Dark Elemental by that name, because obviously it wouldn't lie. After all, if you can't trust the soul of a dead man who made a pact with a walking, talking skeleton who sent teenagers to the Shadow Realm while he was alive, who can you trust?
So, with the opponent set up, Shadowmere nopes the heck out of there and leaves it to Prez to take care of.
Prez says that he wants Tom's Egyptian god card, Obelisk's Tormentor, but they say if he wants it, he'll have to beat them both. Prez accepts, but he has some conditions of his own. Shawn and Tom will have separate 4,000 life points, while Prez will have 8,000 life points. Also, neither Tom nor Shawn can draw on their first turn, but Prez can. Also, a term that is never stated in this episode, but is stated in the comment section, is that in a 2 versus 1 duel, field spells only affect 2 chosen players, so the user can pick who is affected by the field spell. This does create a questionable decision in the duel later, but more importantly, it fixes a scripting error. So that's everything out of the way, so now let's quit our stalling and get brawling. The duel begins and it's Tom's turn. His opening hand consists of Scapegoat, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Chaos Form, and 2 unknown cards. These 2 cards are never seen or used and are just destroyed the next turn, and all we know is that they're spell and trap cards. But seeing how they're just sitting destroyed, I think we all know what those cards are. Mirror Force and Magic Cylinder. He sets Mirror Force, Scapegoat, and Magic Cylinder face down and ends his turn. It's Prez's turn. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Dark Grepher, Dark Nephthys, Dark Resonator, Dark Armed Dragon, Lost Wind, and Call of the Haunted. He starts by discarding his level 8 Dark Nephthys so he can special summon Dark Grepher from his hand to the field with its own effect. Tom and Shawn accuse Prez of net decking their best friend, but Prez suggests that he is Prez. Tom admits that they haven't seen Prez in a while, but Shawn tells him that this guy is talking nonsense. Prez says he'll prove it, and normal summons Dark Resonator. He then has level 3 Dark Resonator tune his level 4 Dark Grepher to synchro summon level 7 Chaos King Archfiend. And because he has exactly 3 dark monsters in his graveyard, he can special summon Dark Armed Dragon from his hand. He then activates Dark Arm's effect by banishing 1 dark monster from his graveyard. He can destroy 1 card on the opponent's field, and this effect is not once per turn. So he uses it 3 times, so he manages to destroy Magic Cylinder, Mirror Force, but on the 3rd one, Tom chains, activating his set Scapegoat. This special summons 4 sheep tokens to his field in defense position. There are level 1 Earth Beast type monsters with 0 attack or defense. Aggravated. Prez enters this battle phase and has Chaos King and Dark Arm to attack 2 sheep tokens. With that done, he sets Lost Wind face down and ends his turn. Misplay for not setting Call of the Haunted. I know he's probably afraid of back row removal, but it's a 2-on-1 duel. Why not set it just to be on the safe side? I mean, saving it for emergencies is fine, but you're a 2 versus 1 duel. This is an emergency! It's Shawn's turn. He can't draw due to stipulation, but his opening hand does consist of Call of the Mummy, Ever-Living Underworld Cannon, Doom King Ballardrock, Unizombie, and Shiranui style Swallow Slash. He begins by activating his continuous spell Call of the Mummy, followed by his Ever-Living Underworld Cannon. He activates effective Call of the Mummy. Since he controls no monsters, he can special summon 1 zombie type monster from his hand. He special summons level 8
Doom King Ballardrock.
Shawn's cannon automatically activates, but unfortunately, Prez chains, activating his face down Lost Wind. Because Shawn special summons a monster, Prez can target that monster and have its attack points as well as negating its effect. Shawn curses him, but reminds Prez that because he special summons a zombie type monster, his cannon will still resolve and inflict 800 points of damage to him. Prez takes the first damage of the duel. Now Shawn normal summons Unizombie. He uses its second effect, sending 1 zombie monster from his deck to his graveyard, so that he can increase the level of 1 monster in the field by 1. He mills Necroworld Banshee and increases Unizombie's level to 4. Finally, Shawn sets Shiranui style Swallow Slash face down and ends his turn. It's Prez's turn. He draws and gets Mystic Tomato. He normal summons it and immediately enters his battle phase. He orders Chaos King Archfiend and Mystic Tomato to attack Tom's tokens. Tom asks, "Why me?" And Prez says because he's the weak link. There's no need to fear though, because Shawn is here. He activates his set Swallow Slash. By tribute 1 zombie type monster, he can target 2 monsters on the field and destroy them. He tributes Ballardrock to destroy a Chaos King and Armed Dragon. Then Shawn has to banish 1 Shiranui monster from his deck. So he banishes Shiranui Spirit Master. Now Spirit Master's second effect activates. If it's banished, Shawn can destroy 1 face-up card on the opponent's field. So he destroys Mystic Tomato. So Prez now has no cards on his field. Tom thanks Shawn for the save and says that he has a theory of who this Prez guy really is. Prez sets Call of the Haunted face down and ends his turn. Now it's possible he drew Call of the Haunted this turn and had Tomato in his hand last turn, but the footage displays otherwise. I know I contradicted the footage in Kisara vs. Dark Kisara, but that was stupid of me, and I regret it deeply, thinking that I know better than what's clearly shown on screen. Tomato was clearly drawn here and is clearly shown being summoned, even if it makes less sense script-wise, so yeah. Anyway, it's Tom's turn. He draws and gets Top Runner. He normal summons this tuner to the field. Then he has level 4 Top Runner tune 2 of his level 1 sheep tokens to synchro summon level 6 Golden Cloud Keys Malong. Malong's effect activates on special summons, letting Tom either increase or decrease its level by 1. Tom chooses decrease, so it becomes a level 5. But because Tom special summoned a monster from his extra deck, Lost Wind is reset to present side of the field, but it will be banished when it leaves the field, and obviously cannot be activated this turn. Battle phase, Malong attacks directly. Prez takes 2200 points of damage. But there's an error in the life point counter. Prez was knocked down to 7200 life points last turn, but when Tom attacks directly, his life points are up to 7400, then down to 5200. He should be down to 5000. Granted, it's a minor error, it doesn't destroy the duel, but still. Anyway, Tom ends his turn. Misplay to Prez for not activating Call of the Haunted to revive that Chaos King Archfiend. If he did, not only could he have blocked Tom's attack, and prevent life point damage, but also defeat Shawn on the following turn. But I'll explain in a sec. Right now, it's Prez's turn. He draws and gets Graceful Charity. He activates it, letting him draw 3 cards at the cost of discarding 2. He draws Mist Archfiend, Gene Excalibur, Birdman, and Necrogardna, then discards Birdman and Necrogardna. Now he normal summons Mist Archfiend, which can be normal summoned without tribute, but it will be destroyed at the end phase, and Prez will take 1,000 points of damage. Next he activates Call of the Haunted to revive the tuner monster Birdman from his graveyard in attack mode. He then tuners a level 5 Archfiend with a level 3 Birdman to synchro summon Prez's ace monster, Thought Ruler Archfiend. Prez asks if they believe him now, or does he need to pound the faith into them? Shawn says that just because he has those cards doesn't make him Prez. Annoyed by the non-believer, Prez orders Thought Ruler to attack Unizombie. Uni is destroyed, and Shawn takes 1,400 points of damage, or 1,500 if you leave the life point counter. Oops. Thought Ruler's effect activates, increasing Prez's life points by the amount of attack points Unizombie had. So he gains 1,300 life points, going up to 6,500. Prez ends his turn, but during his end phase, Shawn activates his Necrowar Banshee's quick effect from the graveyard. By banishing it, he can immediately activate the field spell Zombie World from his deck, choosing to have it affect himself and Prez. This played as Shawn for not activating Banshee earlier, but we can justify this in universe. See, with this new ruling here, it's possible that he thought that if he activated Underworld Banshee during Tom's end phase, then Tom would be affected by the Zombie World as well as himself, and that would leave Prez unaffected. And obviously Shawn wouldn't want that, so he waits till it's Prez's turn when he's absolutely sure that it will go through. There we go. Though he could have used it during Tom's end phase, that way during Prez's turn, the field spell would have made all monsters zombie type. But more importantly, because of face-up field spells on the field, Ballardrock can be special summoned through its own effect. Though if he did that, Thought Ruler might have just attacked Ballardrock to gain more life points, though inflicting no damage. Not to mention the whole lost win thing, but that's just speculation though. It doesn't remake the entire duel. Now what would remake the entire duel is if Prez used Call of the Haunted on Chaos King. Cause if that happens, Tom calls off the attack and passes. Prez draws and gets Graceful Charity. He keeps Mist Archfiend and summons it. Battle phase, Prez attacks Unizombie with Chaos King Archfiend. Now Chaos King's effect activates. When it attacks, the attack and defense of all monsters Shawn controls are swapped. Tom's might be 2, but that's improvable and irrelevant because now Uni only has 0 attack points. So Shawn takes 2,600 points of damage, and then a direct attack from Mist Archfiend would make Shawn's life point 0 and make it Prez versus Tom. And yes, Prez won't gain life points, nor prove that he might be Prez, and he'll take 1,000 damage during the end phase when Archfiend commits Sudoku. But the point is, he would have won against Shawn right there, which is a misplay the real Prez would never make. Probably. I need to break down Excalibur duel someday. But the point is, massive misplay Prez. Back to the duel. It's Shawn's turn. He draws and gets Foolish Burial. During the standby phase, Ballardrock returns to the field in defense position due to its own effect. And because it was special summon, Underworld Cannon inflicts another 800 points of damage to Prez. Aggravated, Prez uses Lost Wind again to negate Ballardrock's effect and have its attack points, though Lost Wind is banished. Shawn continues activating Foolish Burial to send one monster from his deck to the graveyard. He sends a tuner monster, Mad Mauler. Now he uses Mad Mauler's effect. By reducing the level of a level 6 or higher monster Shawn controls by 2, he can special summon this monster. Mauler becomes level 6 and Mauler is summoned. Now he has level 2 Mad Mauler tune his level 6 Ballardrock to synchro summon level 8 Skeletal Dragon Felgrand in attack mode. Felgrand's effect activates on special summon, so Shawn can banish one card on Prez's field or in his graveyard. He banishes Thought Ruler. Shawn enters his battle phase and attacks directly. Prez responds by activating the effect of Necrogardna from his graveyard. By banishing it, Felgrand's attack is negated. Shawn finishes by sending an unknown card face down. Been a hot minute since we had this old chestnut. Extra card in hand. He had 5 at the start of his turn. -1 for activating Call of the Mummy. -1 to activate Underworld Cannon. -1 to special summon Balor. -1 for normal summoning Unizombie. -1 to set Swallow Slash, so he has no cards in his hand. Everyone else has their turn. Then we're back to Shawn. +1 for drawing, -1 for activating Foolish Burial, and now he sets one card face down. So yeah, Shawn had an extra card in his hand and is therefore cheating. Should have scripted a pot of greed, but what's worse is that this card is never activated, so it's just there. So I guess this doesn't destroy the duel, it's just pointless. Sort of like this cutaway. Now back to the duel. It's Prez's turn. He draws and gets the anime version of Card of Sanctity. Please print this version one day, Konami. It would be so funny. for like 5 minutes. During the standby phase, Bellerdruck returns to the field in defense mode, and Underworld Cannon hits Prez for another 800 points of damage. Prez activates Card of Sanctity, so all duelists draw until they have 6 cards in their hand.
Tom already had 1 card in his hand, so he draws 5 cards, while Shawn and Prez draw 6.
Tom's new cards are Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, Rainbow Kuribo,
And 3 mysterious cards, which I have no idea what they are. Shawn's new cards are Mizuki, the anime version of Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, and 4 mysterious cards,
which we'll say are his other Shiranui cards. Prez's are Dark Road Dealings, 2 Charian Mottos, Rainbow Dark Dragon, Gravekeeper Spy, and Necro Valley. Unsatisfied, Prez activates Dark Road Dealings, so all duelists draw 1 card, then discard 1 card. Prez draws Lightning Vortex and discards a Charian Mato. Tom draws something and discards the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Shawn draws something as well and discards Mizuki. Satisfied, he activates Lightning Vortex. By discarding 1 card from his hand, his second Charian Mato, all cards the opponent controls are destroyed, so Shawn and Tom's fields are nuked. Prez then banishes 7 dark monsters from his graveyard with different names to special summon
Rainbow Dark Dragon!
Tom guesses that he's the attack target, and Prez confirms it, ordering Rainbow Dark to attack directly. But Tom chains, activating the effect of the Rainbow Kuribo from his hand. Because an attack was declared, he can equip this card onto that attacking monster and make it unable to attack, thus negating Dark Dragon's attack. Huh. Look at that. A rainbow stopped a rainbow. Prez snaps at Tom still being alive. He goes full Obus and calls his deck a piece of trash. Shawn says that's not the fault of their friend's deck. It's just that he sucks, and Prez tells him to screw off. He gives up the ruse and activates the bane of all zombie decks, the field spell Necro Valley, choosing it to affect himself and Shawn. He also reveals his true identity. The Elemental's true identity is Jean, a minor rival from Tom's past. He also reveals that because of Necro Valley, Shawn can't revive any zombie monsters from his grave anymore. He flips Shawn off, sets Gravekeeper's Spy face down defense position, and ends his turn. Man, first lawyers, then politicians, and now lost souls of the damned making deals with skeletal beings. You can't trust anyone anymore.
Also, fair warning, I mispronounced Jean's name a lot in this upcoming section, so if you have a problem with that, just know one thing.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's Tom's turn. He draws and gets an unknown card. Obelisk. Why not?
Tom tells Jean that he's happy to see him again,
because it now makes taking him down a lot easier. He activates Chaos Form, and since he's unaffected by Necro Valley, he can use his graveyard for this ritual summon. He banishes his level 8 Blue Eyes White Dragon from his graveyard to ritual summon
Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon!
Tom orders Chaos Max to attack Jean's set monster, and due to its effect, it does double piercing damage. Gravekeeper's Spy has 2,500 defense points due to Necro Valley, but it still dies, and Jean takes 3,000 points of damage. But because Spy was flipped though, Jean can special summon 1 Gravekeeper's monster from his deck with 1,500 or less attack points. He summons Spear Soldier. Tom sets 2 of his mysterious cards face down and ends his turn. Never seen or used and are just destroyed on the next turn, so how about a second Mirror Force in Magic Cylinder?
And yes, it does show that Jean has 1,900 life points remaining, but if you remember the error I pointed out earlier, he's actually at 1,700, and this does determine the outcome of the duel, so keep that in mind. He actually is at 1,700 life points.
It's Jean's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets the anime card Demise. He activates it to draw 5 new cards, but in 5 turns, he'll send his entire hand to the graveyard. Not that we'll ever get to that point. His new cards are Greater Polymerization, Gravekeeper's Commandage, Gravekeeper's Heretic, Twin Twisters, and an unknown card that's just going to be discarded in a second. Dark Tinker, why not? He activates Greater Polymerization, letting him fusion summon using monsters from his field and hand. And if he uses 3 or more monsters as material, the fusion summon monster cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it can inflict piercing damage. He fuses Gravekeeper's Spear Soldier, Commandant, and Heretic together to fusion summon level 9 Guardian Chimera! Chimera's effect activates on fusion summon. For every card Jean uses in his hand as material, he can draw that many cards and destroy as many cards the opponent controls equal to the number of monsters he used that were on the field. He draws 2 cards, which are both mysterious to me, then destroys 1 card, Rainbow Kuribo, meaning Dark Dragon can attack again. Now he activates Twin Twisters, discarding an unknown card to destroy both of Tom's face downs again. Battle phase, Gene has Rainbow Dark Suicide into Chaos Max. Shawn laments that he can't activate his extra face down card due to Necro Valley. Then Chimera attacks Tom directly, knocking down to 700 life points. Tom asks if that was his best shot, but Gene says that it's still more than enough to knock him down a little life points. He claims Shawn is about to brick, and ends his turn. Just to be clear, it is not a misplay that he didn't activate Rainbow Dark's effect to power up by banishing dark monsters from his graveyard, because Gene is prevented from doing so due to his own Necro Valley. What is a slight misplay is Tom not using Rainbow Kruger's effect from the graveyard and blocking a direct attack, because Tom isn't affected by Necro Valley, so he could have saved life points and really rubbed in the fact of how much better he is than Gene by winning with 4,000 life points. But he survives the hit and doesn't cost him the duel, so it's a slight misplay, but not a big one. On to the final turn. It's Shawn's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws, and it doesn't even matter what he draws. Shawn calls Gene an idiot for giving him a handful of cards and being so cocky when his life points are so low. Gene says he's bluffing, but Shawn makes his point. He sends the 3 spell cards he controls to the graveyard, Underworld Cannon, Call of the Mummy, and Zombie World, to special summon the anime version of
Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder!
And just to be clear, anime Haman needs 3 spells to go from the field to the graveyard. He doesn't care if they're continuous or not, unlike its real-life counterpart. Gene sees that this was supposed to be the day that he finally defeated Tom, but unfortunately for him, that day will never come. Shawn orders Haman to attack Chimera, inflicting 700 points of damage to Gene. Then he activates Haman's effect. Since he destroyed a monster in battle, the opponent takes 1,000 points of damage. Shawn and Tom win the duel, and Gene is returned to the shallow grave. For now, anyway. So could Gene, have defeated Tom and Shawn? As I proved, the Chaos King Archfiend opportunity is his best shot at one. Because after Shawn is eliminated, and Mr. Archfiend goes to the graveyard with him taking 1,000 damage, it'll probably go to Tom's turn, and he'll supposedly draw a Chaos Max. He can ritual summon Chaos Max using Blue Eyes from his hand, and then have it destroy Chaos King. Malong can then attack directly. Now it's Gene's turn. He draws and gets the anime version of Card Sanctity, and all he has is a set Lost Win, which can't affect Chaos Max because Lost Win targets and Max can't be targeted. He'll use his Card Sanctity, activates Dark World Dealings, discarding Cherry and Mato to draw a Lightning Vortex, and then special summon the Rainbow Dark Dragon, and use Lightning Vortex to really deal with Tom's monsters. Then attack directly with Rainbow Dark. Tom will still use Rainbow Kruger's effect to stop Rainbow Dark's attack, and after that I don't really know what happens next, due to the plethora of unknown cards in Tom's hand. Not to mention the fact he doesn't have Chaos Max anymore to crash into Rainbow Dark. But Gene finds himself in a similar position to where he was at the end of the duel, except with more life points, field advantage, and 1 duelist already taken out. I don't doubt that Tom could pull a win out of his butt, however, it's going to take a lot. If anyone was going to do it, he can. Tom and Shawn did the best duel they could, and I didn't notice any major misplays, aside from Shawn's extra cards, saving the Banshee, and the extra unknown cards. Other than those, though, no problems. They duel perfectly fine. I wish I could have known what those mysterious cards were that Tom kept drawing, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I could theorize what they were, but I don't know. There's not a lot of cards that could justify being bricks in Tom's deck. His deck is a cluster, but it's not too bad. It's a rogue deck. It's fine. I'd say the biggest mistake of this episode is the life point counter going all over the place. But to be fair, Shawn does disclose that he was kind of pressed for time when filming this and didn't have time to double check everything, so we can forgive some of the mistakes, and honestly, this is still a thoroughly entertaining duel despite all the mistakes, so credit to you, Ash Jester. What's funny to me is, if I had a nickel for every New Year's analysis I did where someone said an extra card they shouldn't have had face down only to be Card of Sanctities and had extra cards in hand, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Anyway, what do you all think? Did you notice any misplays that I missed? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to check out Shawn and Tom's channel. Links are in the description. I hope you all have a happy 2025. See you next time!